Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We're pleased to be joined by another team preview. Why not? Before season opener against Pinckney tomorrow night, it's South Lyon East Boys basketball coach Ron Levin's joining us. How's it going?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure talking with you, Casey.
So let's talk about what to expect this year from the Cougars. Going into the season, how excited are you to start tomorrow? And it's gonna be a big year for you guys.
We are ready to go. We're itching to finally get out there and play. We've had a couple weeks of some great practices, had some very competitive scrimmages, even had an exhibition game. So the boys are just ready to go.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the guys that are coming back for you guys this year, and also some of the guys to watch out for.
We have a lot of varsity experience. So having one less week this year for us as far as the late start, I don't think it really hindered us at all. We have 6 seniors coming back from last year's squad. And then we have 2 juniors that saw varsity time last year. So we got 8 guys that got minutes at the varsity level last year. We had a very competitive summer in June with guys really getting after it and being active. So I think we're ready to go. We have from last year's team, our second and third leading scorers last year, Jake Fannin, senior guard, slasher, can finish at the basket, knocks down the threes. And then our point guard, Drew Moyer, kind of just leads us. Great thing about him is teams really can't pressure us. He's not fazed by pressure. He could handle, he's got the athleticism and the speed and the ball handling to really get us into whatever we need to get into. Both those guys are 3-year guys. So they were sophomores on our league championship team a couple years ago. And they gained a lot of experience that year. And then last year stepped in and played big minutes for us.
Yeah, for sure. And really kind of talking about that class for a minute. They started as sophomores, which is very familiar to you.
Yeah.
Because obviously that was when the class of 21, seniors with Bryce and Christian and all them, they really started the solid program of, you guys really haven't dropped off like a lot of other teams haven't. It's really because of, you guys start them young and just throw them out there and boom, they succeed.
Yeah. It's if you could get a couple sophomores in the mix, and then they kind of know the expectations and the standards at the varsity level. There's just a jump from JV to varsity. This year, we got a solid group of juniors coming up from JV that are ready to play. And usually there's a little bit of a drop off. You got to get used to the speed of the game and the physicality. And we got some juniors coming up that are ready to play. So, we're deep this year. We got 10, 11 guys that on any night could start.
How much? Go ahead.
And any night could be in double figures for us offensively. So the depth is really going to be one of our strengths this year.
How much did that 21 class kind of build this program into really what it is today? And of course, when they won the league championship that year, that was the COVID year. So
yeah, it was. Yeah.
This was the shortened season and all that stuff, and they didn't even know whether or not that was going to happen. And then these guys that are seniors right now, they're like, man, maybe we can go out and do this.
Yeah, that group, as far as just kind of building the culture and the standards and the expectations for the way we play and the way we practice and the way we handle ourselves day to day, they were just huge. They were just great leaders. And we have some great leaders this year. Might be familiar with him from the football field, but Jordan Newbill,
yeah.
He's one of our captains. And he's come on this year, and he's one of the strongest leaders I've ever been around for a high school kid. Just incredible maturity for a kid his age, unbelievable work ethic. All the guys respect him. All the guys look up to him. And he's really kind of turned into that leadership role that we need. So it's not always my voice that they're hearing, they're hearing it from him too. And I'll tell you what, you're going to be entertained watching us play this year. If you take a look at Jordan Newbill out there and Caleb Gash, those two on the football field are fun to watch. Get them into a 94-foot court and watch them go. Man, they are exciting to watch.
Yeah, and you just kind of mentioned it a little bit. You're feeling, obviously, you really like what your team has, and it's a lot of seniors, a lot of veteran presence out there. where do you think you're at with this team right now?
We're going to see for sure tomorrow night. We've had some competitive scrimmages. We had scrimmages on Saturday with Novi and Woodhaven, two pretty good programs. We had an exhibition game with Detroit UPAD. Had a quick little scrimmage over Thanksgiving with Birmingham Seaholm. So we've gone out against some competitive teams, and we've been able to really do some nice things out there. So I'm excited to see where we're at. Um, I think this team should be contending in our league for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, league's been around 5 years,
Yeah.
and Matt's won the league 4 years. So they won it last year, and they got pretty much all their guys back. So they got to be the team to beat. But I think that Lakeland's always tough. Obviously, Ronnie does a great job with them. They got some size over there. Milford. Great program over there with Gilbert, and they just have unbelievable culture over there in Milford with guys really playing for each other. It's going to be a fight every night with them. So I think this is the most competitive the league has probably ever been, from top to bottom. Usually there's been a couple studs at the top and a couple at the bottom that you can have a little bit of a night off maybe. This year from top to bottom, I think it's the most competitive the league's been. I think the winner of the league this year is going to have a couple losses. It's not going to be a 16-0 or a 15-1 type of thing, I don't think.
Yeah, it's almost like kind of like that Big Ten atmosphere a little bit. Everyone just
it really is a lot of hard-nosed teams, very competitive, physical, and I think we're a little bit of the outlier. I think our league is pretty strong front court players, and we are guard dominant. So we're going to look to kind of impose our will on other teams and make them play, make them have to defend our guards on the other end, just like we're going to have to defend their bigs.
Yeah. And you really kind of, and also another team another thing we have to mention, obviously, the rivalry between you and South Lyon is going to look a little different. Obviously, Jeff Schmitz is now the head coach at South Lyon. What's that going to be like going up against him? Have you had the chance to talk with Jeff?
Yeah, I have. He's been around the area. He's been working with players for a few years now. He actually is a former player of our assistant coach, Doug Host, when he was running the program over at South Lyon before Troy. So he's one of his former players. And I know he's going to get things rolling there. They have a similar situation to we had a couple years ago. They got a lot of sophomores up, and those sophomores are going to be playing their butts off every night. So I think they're going to be very competitive this year.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen it before with you guys, and it works. So we'll have to see how that goes. So kind of before we get to league play, I know that there's also let's talk about what your December slate's going to look like for you guys.
Well, we open up tomorrow night with Pinckney.
Yep.
Got a couple of our old KLAA guys, so we're going to go to Churchill. We're going to go to Salem. We have a little showcase over at Northville over Christmas. We're going to be playing Avondale.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing at a showcase Martin Luther King Day at Bishop Foley. I think we're matched up with Troy for that game. And then in February, we got a matchup going to Arbor Prep. So definitely tried to get some competitive teams in our non-conference, get us ready for those games against Mott, those games against Lakeland. And then we got a district that's, got Ann Arbor Skyline and Brighton. So every year that's a tough battle as well. So we're looking for, we're not shying away. We want to play anyone, anytime, anywhere.
Yep. It's always a good district. Dexter's in it too, and they're pretty good.
Dexter's in there too. Yeah.
And actually, it's at Dexter this year.
It is. Yeah.
So it should be a fun couple. Should be some fun matchups this season. But really entering into the new year, what do you want to see out of your team in this December month?
Just want to continue to see that growth. Want to just see them kind of forming those bonds together. Like I said, we had a great June. And we got guys who are really pretty close-knit group. Like they love being around each other. Our five of our 6 seniors are coming off a football season together. So they, have a great bond with each other, and just kind of seeing the guys continue to work hard and develop. We have big picture goals, so we're not worried about games in December or how we look necessarily in December. We got goals for closing out the season in February and getting into March.
Yep. All right. Well, Ron Levin, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck tomorrow night against Pinckney.
Appreciate it. Hope to see you out there sometime this year.
Will do.